All right, Greg, high school star, college star, number one overall draft pick, and now you're going into the Ohio State basketball Hall of Fame. And you're still just 36 years old. It feels like you've lived like 3 or 4 sporting lifetimes. Does it feel that way to you?
Yes, it does. I mean, high school was such a long time ago, and finally being recognized in the Ohio State Hall of Fame, was very exciting. But I've retired from 2 different sports already, so it's definitely been a couple of sports lifetimes.
It's been 10 years now since your last NBA game. Does it feel that long?
Uh, it actually doesn't, now that I think about it. Um, but I could see it put a toll on my body, so I definitely know it was a long time ago, like that.
How did you know? I mean, look, after that season in Miami, you bounced around a little bit. You went to China. You tried to come back a couple of times. I remember covering that at the time. But how did you know it was time to walk away?
For me, it was kind of my body. It took so much for me just to practice or for me to play in the game, not even the full game, still being on a minutes restriction. It was like, if I practiced 2 days in a row, I would have to sit down another day. It just took a lot just to get out there and be mediocre, I guess, in my eyes. And I just felt like if I was going to play, I wanted to be my best, and my body wasn't allowing me to be my best at that time.
Did you ever feel like your best as a pro? Because I was going back to watch some of your high school tapes and the year at Ohio State. And like, did you ever feel like that player when you were in the NBA?
I want to say my second year playing, the year that I played, I want to say 16 games, the year I broke my kneecap. I think the start of that season, I felt really good about where I was. I spent the whole summer um, in Ohio with Billy Bano. He would come and we would work out 4 days out the week. Him and Brian Grant would come, and it was just that year. I think I had a really good summer, and I came in ready to play and dominate. And I felt good until my kneecap broke in half, and the rest is history after that.
I remember the start of that year. You had like a 24-point game. You had like a 20 rebound game. Like that was probably the most optimistic people were about your ability to bounce back. Like that next injury must have been just so deflating for you.
Yeah, it was because it was like the broken kneecap, and then it was the refracture of that kneecap, and then coming back from that, it was a microfracture on the other knee coming back from that, and then it was another microfracture, and it was just all back to back to back to back. So yeah, it was extremely frustrating just knowing that I wanted to actually just play and feel good out there while playing.
Do you watch much NBA basketball now?
I do. I watch a lot of NBA basketball. I watch a lot of WNBA basketball because I got a daughter. And I've always just been a fan. But yeah, I love NBA. I was one of those guys that got chills when Steph hit that shot in the Olympics this year. It was awesome. And I'm still a fan of all those guys. I like to go to the games as well. Living in Indianapolis, big Pacer guy now. So.
Yeah, I saw that video of you and LeBron interacting before a game. What was that like to kind of reconnect with him in that brief moment?
It was awesome. The greatest thing was my daughter is a LeBron fan. So the fact that he came over there and took the picture with us, that meant the world to me. And I kind of told him, I was like, she's a fan, not of basketball. She's a fan of Space Jam too.
It's amazing how people are viewed by other people. He's for us, LeBron is the greatest basketball player, one of certainly of all time. For others, he's the Space Jam guy, no question.
Yeah.
That year you spent in Miami, you got a bird's eye view of really one of the great work ethics of all time. Like, what did you take away from that experience?
Well, you just seen the greatest player in the world. How hard he works, how he's in there early, staying late, how much he works on having 10,000 other things to do in the day. And I saw the energy that man had. Honestly, I think the Miami LeBron James is a creative player. I think he is the best player I've ever seen. And to see the dedication to defense and the little details through all those all-stars on that team and all those great players. It was just something I really appreciated. And then Coach Spoelstra and his staff, just seeing top level organization, top level coaching, and top level play. It was amazing to be on that team.
Yeah, what was that season like for you? I mean, you played kind of sparingly. You were in and out. That team did go to the finals that year. Like, what was that like to be a part of that?
I enjoyed the ride. What you talking about? Those guys were nice. They always gave us gifts. All those vets, always giving the players stuff. So I took it all in. Being in Miami, my one thing was just don't get in trouble. Don't rock the ship. These guys have made it to the finals 2 years in a row. 3 years in a row, actually. And I just wanted to be able to add something to that team and was hoping to get a ring.
You mentioned you watch a lot of NBA basketball, a lot of WNBA basketball. Were you able to do that right away, or was there a period where it's like, I'm out of the game, I don't want to watch the game, I don't want to think about the game? Was there any kind of transition there?
Honestly, once I stopped playing, I watched more basketball. Like, I watched more basketball when I wasn't playing than when I was, because when I was playing, I didn't want to hear all the criticism. I didn't want to pay attention to everybody else besides my scout for the next game. But once I got done, I missed it. I'm just a fan of the game. So I'm always watching. I'm always watching Sports Center. I'm watching NBA Game Time during the season to watch all the highlights of every game, especially to keep tabs on my guy, Mike Conley. So it really never affected me anyway, because I'm just a fan of basketball.
What do you think when you watch Mike, who's one of the all-time great guys in the NBA, in addition to being a great player? But you were his teammate, sixth grade on, basically, high school into college. What do you think of him, like, still playing at this level at this age?
I love it. He knows how to preserve his body. He doesn't go down there and get beat up as much. But he's just a steady Eddie. Like, I really think he's going to go down as one of the top 10 best point guards, because he's just a guy who gets it done. It's not the flashy thing, but he's just reliable. He's going to take over when he needs to take over. He knows when to get guys in their groove, how to get everybody involved. I mean, he's just one of the smartest basketball players I ever played with. And I'm so happy to see that he's able to keep on going and keep on getting those contracts, even though every summer he says he's going to retire and then he just doesn't.
Who retires, Greg, when there's that much money on the table? Like, there's so much money in the NBA right now.
Hey, if you can make it, take it. I'm just saying. I would definitely be playing if I could to get some of that money right now.
What do you think of these center contracts that are out there? I mean, you got guys on the mid-level end like Zubac getting 3 years, $60 million. Rudy's out there with a max deal. When you see some of these dollars handed out to big men, what goes through your mind?
I'm jealous. 100% jealous. But no, I'm happy for them. Those guys, they play a pivotal role on their teams, and you got to go out there, you got to perform, and you got to show that you're worth that money. And again, I'm jealous. Take all you can, as much as you can,
and even now, and you're involved with college basketball now over at Butler, and like the NIL stuff. Like, when you see all the money flowing through college basketball these days, what do you think?
I'm jealous too. No. So honestly, I actually walked away from Butler about 3.5-4 weeks ago now.
Oh, okay.
Just wanted to get my time back, and coaching is a lot of time commitment. And but when I was, seeing the money that's being thrown out to these guys, I'm happy that they're able to make that money now, when we weren't able to when I was there. So again, I'm jealous, but I'm happy for them. Get as much as you can while you can. But I also think here soon it's going to kind of level itself out, because right now it's a little bit of the have and have nots. Somebody can pay, the 12th guy on their team, more than some of these small schools' whole entire, payroll for the whole team. So it's going to have to even itself out. And a lot of these guys are just money grabbing and leaving schools going to the highest bidder. which if you're not going to be a professional player, I kind of understand it. But, you want some stability. You want to be on the team that's going to have juniors and seniors. Those are the teams that's going to win. And, that's the main goal when you're playing, not just to get the money, but to play this game that we love and to win a national championship.
Yeah, it does seem like it's the Wild West out there right now, and there has to be some kind of moment where it all gets sorted out over the next couple of years. When you walked away from basketball, you were still, I think, in your 20s, right? Like you were still a very young guy.
Right.
You had to basically reinvent yourself at that point, start over. Like what was that process like for you? What were you thinking about during that time? You said, all right, now I've got to move on to the next phase of my life.
Honestly, it was very scary. One of the big things that I had to do was actually figure out myself. I was a part of basketball since the third grade and never really knew my own identity outside of basketball. And so the first thing I had to do was ask myself, like, what do you even like? What do you enjoy outside of this game? And then, for me, I went back to school, just tried to finish my degree. It's something I promised my mom I would do. Thankful to Coach Thad Matta for getting me back around the game and, giving me a space where I felt comfortable to go back to school and finish my degree. And, now a few years later, this summer, I graduated with my master's from the Ohio State University. So,
wow.
Yeah, just trying to be the best man I could possibly be, evolve, and just be happy in life. And but you got to know who you are first, because our identity for so long is just the game of basketball.
How long did it take you to find that identity? Because I give you an enormous amount of respect for starting at the bottom once again. Like you were at the very top as the number one overall pick, but you were willing to come back to Ohio State, basically be like a student manager, graduate assistant, on that level. Like you really rebuilt from the bottom up. How long did it take you to kind of find that new identity?
I'm still working on it. I'm still a work in progress. Honestly, every day, is just trying to be the best I can today. Still try to grow and learn. But I would say, it took me a good 6 months to a year trying to figure out actually what I wanted to do, what direction I wanted my life to go. It's not easy. It's not a quick way of finding who you are, but it took some time. I had some mentors that helped me along the way and just kind of helped guide me to find, some of the things I'm very, very passionate about.
Who helped you the most?
Well, I'll say my wife and my daughter, because I knew I had to be better and I had to grow for them, for our family. But also, I got father figures in my life. Jimmy Smith, a lot of my coaches, Dad, honestly, that man, he got me back in school and he gave me my first real coaching opportunity. And he's been there a lot of the ways and a lot of big moments in my life, and I'm very thankful for him. But I also had a guy, Jason Barger, who's he writes a lot of books and does a lot of public speaking, and he kind of took me under his wing and was definitely a mentor to me and helping me figure out what I wanted to do with my life. And I had some therapists that I had to talk to calm me down and help me think right. So it's been a lot of people.
You mentioned, you're getting inducted into the Hall on Friday. What do you think that moment's going to feel like for you?
I'm excited. I really don't know what to think. I wasn't getting nervous till, you just asked that question. But, it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be a pretty, smooth weekend. Being out there on the football field, since I graduated, actually, it's going to be pretty cool. On Saturday, they introduced us at halftime, and my daughter's going to be there, my mom, dad, family's going to be there, so it's going to be fun. I'm just going to enjoy the weekend and have a smile on my face and let everybody praise me.
That's a good perspective to have on that. Last thing for you, you mentioned you walked away from coaching. And coaching does take a lot of time, especially college coaching. I mean, that's a year-round commitment. But what is the next iteration of Greg Oden's life? What is the next phase of your career?
So want to start doing some more public speaking, but also I'm jumping into my financial literacy that I do with EduCore. I've been doing this for about 5 years now, teaching athletes and entertainers just the importance of understanding basic financial literacy, to paying attention to your money, where it's going, who has access to it, making sure you're not giving away too much to family and friends, making sure you know how to budget, and make sure you paying Uncle Sam. That's something that I'm definitely passionate about and has been doing for a long time. And I really enjoy it. And now I have a lot more time to be able to travel and do a lot more of that. And hoping to get more into the public speaking realm as well. I think I got a story that can resonate with a lot of people, and hopefully people can learn, and I can teach people some of my mistakes and some of the things I've learned on and off the court.
What's the best piece of financial advice that 36-year-old Greg Oden would have given 18-year-old Greg Oden?
Best piece of to actually pay attention to your money. At 18, I put people in place to handle that for me because I had other things going on. My mind was elsewhere. And now I'm like, no, you need to understand where your money's going, who has access to it, why are you paying this bill, how much is this bill, just to understand your own personal finances and making sure you're making the right decisions, not making stupid spending. But if I'm looking at it, 18-year-old Greg, I would have told him to get Bitcoin for $3,000 instead of now it's $15,000.
Bitcoin, nice. Yeah, one last final thing for you. In your best years, you were an unbelievable defensive player, unbelievable rebounder. You did not shoot 1 3 in the NBA during your time there. You see centers nowadays gunning, right? Like Brook Lopez, Marc Gasol reinvented himself. Could Greg Oden have reinvented himself as a three-point shooter if your career didn't get derailed with those injuries?
Well, I would say this. I teach our centers when I was coaching. The corner threes and the top of the key three. Those are the three you have to have as a center nowadays, because you just have to be able to spread the floor. You can't just clog the paint. Now, guys are moving too much. Guys are specialists, but you got to be able to dominate inside the paint and also go out and shoot those threes. So I would hope I would be able to evolve like a Brook Lopez and Marc Gasol, two of my favorite guys, the Nikola Vucevic, those guys who can go down low and still spread the floor. I'm a big fan of those guys. And I would like to say I would have became one, but as you said, I did not shoot 1 3 in my career.
I think you would have evolved. If Brook Lopez could do it and Marc Gasol could do it, I think Greg Oden could have pulled it off. Greg, good stuff, man. Congratulations on the Hall of Fame. Looking forward to seeing you out there on that public speaking circuit and doing more good things with your life, with your career. Really happy for you, man. And thanks for taking some time to join me.
Thank you, Chris. I really appreciate it.